Okay, there was a second introduction for the Art of Dreaming. That was a new one. I guess we used to have a different one. I'm assuming I'm on the air. Let's see. Anyway, in my second hour today, I'm going to have on photographer Mark James, who's having a showing in a big arts festival over where they had the Kentucky Derby. He'll talk about it more. I was checking out his photography last night and this morning, and it's some pretty powerful stuff. And I'm sure he'll discuss it in more detail, as well as recite some spoken word material that accompanies his work. And he'll talk about some video projects and where he's been and where he's going. So that, I hope, will prove to be enlightening. Okay, I'm checking the radio station and I'm not hearing myself. Ahmad?
I'm here. We should be on live.
Okay, there it is. Okay. So this first hour I want to discuss some things. I'm open for calls if you want to call in. Hang on a second. Seems to be there's always a problem every time I start a show, but that's all right. As long as they don't cut my internet lines like they've been doing. Of course, I'm not on a line. I'm on a Wi-Fi, but I'm transmitting from Mexico, and sometimes it goes in and out. So if I vanish for a moment or two, I'll be coming back on. I see that there's a new book that's going to hit it's going to debut #1 on the New York Times bestseller list called The Amateur by Edward Klein, and it's about Obama. The subtitle is called Barack Obama in the White House, and it's another one of the things that's going to cover who put him in there, the birth certificate issue, the false or stolen Social Security numbers, and all that. I'm hoping to get a review copy soon, and maybe even get the guy on. I know Edward Klein. I'm sure he's going to be in big demand. And Facebook. What's going on with Facebook? After a whole debacle about offering the IPO and stock and that having crashed, now they want to say they want to do it all over again on the New York Stock Exchange. I'm assuming they went on NASDAQ first. Apparently...
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Gesundheit there. Apparently, the Facebook shareholders have filed a class action lawsuit against the social network, as well as underwriting banks, including Morgan Stanley, over its first day trading slide. The law firm Robbins, Giller, Redmond, and Dowd announced that this morning in a press release. The suit alleges that Facebook hid a severe and pronounced reduction in revenue forecasts from its investors due to a more widespread use of Facebook via mobile devices. Yesterday, Reuters reported that some investors were shocked when lead underwriter Morgan Stanley reduced its revenue forecasts of the company shortly before Facebook's IPO, supposedly following an amendment to its S-1 filing on May 9th over increased mobile risk. Even more scandalous, Business Insider's Henry Blodgett reported last night that a Facebook executive actually told the underwriting banks to cut their estimates, but didn't share that information with smaller investors. If true, Facebook could be on the hook for violating securities laws. Hello? I thought someone was calling in.
Yeah,
anyway,
HiJaccer's here.
HiJacker? Okay, let's talk to HiJacker. You there, HiJacker?
Yeah. What's the deal about the book?
This new book of biography about Obama is going to hit the New York Times bestseller list tomorrow. They always change the bestseller list on Thursday.
Oh, I see. So it's going to be about his 3.5 years in office, or
So the title is The Amateur. Let's see. It says that Edward Klein's new book on President Obama, The Amateur, has already made some news, particularly with regard to allegations that an ally of Obama's offered the odious Reverend Jeremiah Smith a $150,000 bribe to keep his mouth shut during the 2008 presidential campaign. And the title of the book is a quote from Bill Clinton, who said to be urging his wife's challenge Obama for the Democratic nomination in 2012. I don't know. What do you think? Do you know of this?
So It's a hatchet book. In other words, it's not a it's amateur, like you're an amateur at tennis, or is it that's the title?
Yeah, the title is The Amateur Obama's Days in the White House.
Oh, so they're gonna attack him. It does.
Oh, yeah. It's a hatchet book.
Yeah, it looks like they're done. It looks like they're done with Obama. This Kenya thing is really when you stop. When you stop and you think about it, if the body politic finds out that this guy's from Kenya, that's like political 9/11 type lie that will free so many people's minds to be able to see what's really going on. They just can't have that. Obama's really in trouble. I worry about him. Really, I'm serious.
Well, you said, which I agree, that if this comes out, I mean, basically every executive order he signed is nullified, isn't it?
Oh man, all kinds of stuff. It's a scandal of scandals. Oh good Lord, it's like I say, it's a political 9/11. I mean, that's how big it would be.
I would probably think that they would also demand that he repay all the taxpayer money or whatever from all his vacations and stuff and protection.
You're talking prison. What people are going to say? Well, why isn't the guy put in prison? And who did this to us? And what connections to the CIA? What's going on? What about this? What about that? Maybe they're lying about UFOs. Maybe they're lying about everything. You see what I mean? That's what happens.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also is the question is how did everyone overlook this? I mean, that those his literary agents' brochures have been out there since what, 92, 91, stating that he's from Kenya. His wife announced that he was from Kenya when he was in the Senate, the Illinois Senate.
I've seen both those clips where she admits it in a high school auditorium, but
right.
They were just so arrogant. See what happened is this the one world order high council who decides all this stuff. They got into their head that we're coming into an economic storm, and that this minority smooth talking guy, he could keep the minorities and the poor people calm down as we flew into this thing. And they figured that he would be the man that would keep, basically everything calmed down. And so they went for it, and they just made a mistake. I mean, they made a huge, huge mistake. All the stuff he's signing are mistakes on the board. I mean, I got to admit, I laugh like an evil guy sometimes when I hear some of the things that he's doing. I mean, I laugh because it's just so, you take a look at it politically, it's like, you're going to steal more money? No 9/11 cover? No smoke screen? You're just going to like reach over there in front of everybody and grab it? You're going to reach over there and say, all resources in the country are now mine? I can draft you up to 45 years old? Really? The military can lock you up? And I mean, I got to laugh. I just got to laugh because it's so many mistakes and waking so many people up that now I'm not laughing no more, because now I'm actually scared that they may do some occultic thing with them and then the cities burn. The blacks go crazy. I mean, I'm really nervous, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I told a couple months ago, I told a cab driver that Malcolm X might be his father. And then later on when I took his cab a couple weeks later, he said he mentioned that to some black people at his taxi stand, and they attacked him.
Well,
and I was saying, well,
you might have a point. There might be so much damage being done, and it's only because I formed these kind of weapons or lies that I know how they work. But they just might do what you're talking about. They might just say, no, he was born in Hawaii, but we created this thing from Kenya to throw people off the track, that his mother was Malcolm X's love child, or,
right.
And there's supposed to be some truth to that. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, that would indicate then that they've been plotting this since at least 91 when that press release went out.
Yeah, but the big thing is that at least we're able to be able to say that all the stuff he's done for the last 3.5 years is still legal.
Oh, okay, I see.
You see what I mean? That's how they think. You got to think kind of like they have to have these laws and tell people certain things in tricky ways, and they got to do Patriot Acts. There's something about the way their system operates that they got to put it in the mind that that's law. Or like when bombs are dropping and blowing children up, and they ask Cheney, "Don't you feel bad on Meet the Press?" Cheney says, "Well, this is policy. This is you just can't change policy just like that." I mean, talking about killing people, right? And just the whole way his mind works. No, that's policy. That's not like really little kids getting their arms blown off. That's just a particular policy you're talking about.
Well, I'm thinking, I mean, this is going to have to be a legal procedural nightmare. I mean, first they have to impeach him and kick him out of office. But who would then charge him? I guess the Justice Department, or I mean, how do you know what would be the process for them to nullify everything he signed?
No, you're not getting it, Michael. They cannot do it. You're not getting it. That's a false reality you're talking about. They will kill that guy before they let anything happen. Those people are occultists. They're Luciferians. That's why
I understand.
Right. That's why they killed JFK the way they did. At the time of day they killed him, and in that particular area they killed him. I forgot what the road was, the street and everything, but it was all real occultic stuff. They were not going to let him become an illegitimate president. They're just not going to let it happen. And that's what I'm worried about. So my thinking is I better try to help this guy. And if I can form him a big enough political weapon, then maybe at least he can go to election day and they're probably going to go ahead and let him lose, put Romney in there. But if I can give him something good enough for 6 months to distract people without them starting to think about, something dramatic, because that's what I'm really worried about, making him say, "Oh, okay, we'll make him a martyr now." I mean, and that's just that's horror. That's nightmare.
I know that Sean Morton thinks he's not going to go out or peacefully. He's going to start the war with Iran and do everything to make a mess before they boot him out or as you say, terminate his function. I want to be careful about saying that about the president, because then we'll get, like Art Bell used to always get, visits from the Secret Service every time a guest would mention something like that. So you need to be a little cautious in that area.
Oh yeah, well, when I was doing some letters, I got Secret Service. If I go my language is too colorful, then that'll draw Secret Service. One time I drew him just because Clinton was coming to the area. It was in South Carolina. He was coming to this event on the 1st of January, some kind of New Age type thing where everybody gets together, like Martha Vineyard type thing. You know how they all meet once in a while?
Yeah.
Well, this guy did something out on the Isle of Palms. It was fairly close to me. And they came out there with SLED. That's the South Carolina FBI, I guess. Just to talk, and, the guy wanted to find out where my head's at. I goes, no, I don't operate like that. I don't operate in the physical. You know what I do. These are the letters. Yeah, but, Tim, we're told to, oh, yeah, what do you want to talk about? So sit around and just joke for 15 minutes or whatever, and left. That was all. They're just, certain people, when a president comes to town, they have a list of people they worry about. And I imagine that list has gotten bigger. Now they got some people that are car dealerships. They took their car dealerships from them. Now you're hitting people with money. So you start mixing somebody with money, taking their business. I bet they do got a lot of people they got to worry about out there, of robbing people and taking all this money. So I'm sure the Secret Service is big. It's gotten a lot bigger. Somebody said they're hiring 20,000 more agents. I don't know if that's true or not. But on Sean's thing, I heard last night Sean says that an FBI, he said this is mainstream news, that an FBI agent came out and said,
oh yeah, right,
yeah, that there's people within the government that are planning on setting off nuclear devices in America, and it was on the LA Times front page, or Los Angeles Times or whatever that was a legit FBI agent. And so I'm worried about that too. I mean, that's why you got to kind of help create a reality these people can go with. Because if they're left to their own devices, they'll do what they want, and they start wars. They set bombs off. They do 9/11. I mean, these people, you feed the lion some meat, well, that lion will reach out and start grabbing people, killing people.
Is this the agent who's disappeared, or the one who's being framed for kiddie porn?
Oh, they can frame. Yeah. I heard they can frame any agent for kiddie porn.
Oh, sure. They just upload the stuff to their computers.
Right. I heard it's standard. It's already uploaded to everybody's, and that they're told they're not to remove it. And it's just to tap them on the shoulder saying, you stay in line, watch your mouth, or it's a way of control, so to speak.
Well, it's a way of getting them killed when they throw them in prison anyway. You get labeled, what is it, short eyes or something like that? They labeled the...
Oh, yeah. When I was in jail, those guys, they had to actually keep them locked down. Of course, I spent most of my time solitary confinement. But, no, they got to separate those guys. There's some people, if it's a child, now, if it's some guy that's got a 15-year-old girlfriend, they don't got to worry about it. But a guy that hurts a baby or a toddler or a child, they are targeted in prison.
I should mention that HiJacker here is one of our newer hosts. His show started last Monday called Changing Reality. It starts at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Although his first show, we were having some curiously strange internet connection problems. And HiJacker's been a regular personality here on the radio station calling in. So, HiJacker, the reason why I asked you to call in is your show's very interesting. I love listening to it, but I think you're assuming everyone knows your background, and a lot of people don't. I certainly don't, since I've only been here for 2 months. So when you say you've been in prison for your activities and you had a connection to a bot, could you, like, for context reasons, just kind of tell us what your history is in that regard, if you can?
Okay, real quick. About 25 years ago or so, I was a kid that married a kid that had a kid. And I mean, she was my first girlfriend, and I guess the first time, we got together, she got pregnant. I didn't know it was supposed to work like that. So I had a child, but anyways, turns out it only lasted like 18 months. It was hell. And then I found out later what happened was that her dad had really messed her head up, and it was transferred over to me. There was no saving that. Anyways, so I got in a custody dispute, and I got really mad. I mean, really, really mad. And you can tell I'm pretty smart. So I started using my mind on what I was going to do, to, in other words, get my child back. And it didn't take me long. And I says, well, also being a Christian, I was looking for a way to try to fix the problem. And so I had a job at this Crystal City, in Arlington as a night security clerk, a desk clerk type deal. One of the guys in there was a Supreme Court Justice, Thurgood Marshall. Anyways, to make a long story short, I almost went so crazy that I almost went over the edge. And then basically the Lord stopped me and says, you're not going to do it. Not this way. So then this guy Robertson came along, Pat Robertson, and I was able to take my anger and energy, and then I got into politics. And I was real good at organizing, real good activist, had a phone bank in my home. And anyways, it turned out I was really good at it. It was like a natural gunslinger. I mean, I was quick. I massed up an army of about 600, and we went into, it was a caucus state. So as we went into the caucuses, nobody understands politics. Basically your county gets together, town, state, you have caucuses and you build all the way up to a national convention. So, I just rolled right through all these different, county and local caucuses, and we just slaughtered everybody on the slate, and put Robertson delegates in, and basically got involved in politics that way. So, and then I got hired because I was so good. U.S. Senator hired me because he was going to run for governor. And so I was his basically his Christian conservative liaison to the pastors. So all I did was start organizing the pastors in different groups. I would bring them into his office and like 6, 7 at a time, and then he would have a chat with them. And that way he'd build support among his Christian conservative base, because Virginia's pretty strong on that. But then I found out that he had all these liberals and that he was lying. You know, in fact, I had to take this pen because I was an authentic fundamentalist born-again Christian. I mean, brainwashed. I mean, y'all know everybody's out there met him. I was one of those, a zealot. In fact, I was so zealot, I wasn't even allowed to get around abortion clinics. I mean, that's how extreme I was.
Okay.
I mean, the Lord told me not to. You do not protest at abortion clinics, because then you start thinking about all this other stuff. So anyway, I would work with them, and I had this pen, and when he wouldn't say something that was Christian, I would click it, and he would know that what he's saying is not proper Christian speak. So I was actually helping him to see. Anyways, I had enough. I wrote a big letter, open letter of resignation on issue of principle. I cracked his Christian base, and he lost in the open primary for governor against a guy, I don't want to date me too much, Marshall Coleman. But anyways, what I found out about that experience is I was really good with concepts in writing and politics. I was a natural. And so then I started writing concepts and strategies. I was really good at it. I mean, you know, and then I learned, wow, I can just send this stuff to these people that run these campaigns, and I can I can inject at will my ideas because they're more powerful or better than these other people that run these campaigns. Like most people on the political mountaintop, they know exactly who the reality changer is. That's my code name. You get to a certain point in the federal government on the mountaintop, and they all know who I am. I am like a rock star among them. In fact, if you don't know who the reality changer is, that just means that you're not far enough up on a political mountain. So anyways, injected the stuff, and then when I really woke the beast up and life changed is when I wrote this conservative manifesto, Congressional Conservative Councils. And I figured out how to organize all 435 congressional councils, how to form a council there's only about 1,000 people really in a county that really govern that. Not a county. It's a congressional district. Magisterial district, as they call it in political speak. And then my life just went to hell after that. Was in West Virginia, cars went down, job. I mean, it just all went to hell. So my reaction to it was to write even more, and then I got knocked all the way around, and somehow I ended up in Buffalo. And then there was I wrote for Alphonse D'Amato. Yeah, he was a good one. He was a senator, big banking guy. And he was
I remember.
Yeah, he was going up against Spitzer, maybe. I can't remember who the other guy was. But anyways, I gave him a campaign strategy. And Alphonse, he took this ad that I gave him about New Yorkers don't care if you don't pay taxes or do such and such. But what they care about is if you keep your word and you lie to them. New Yorkers can't stand. You know, it doesn't matter if you lie to the government, just don't lie to the people. He took that thing and just saturated it. I mean, it was like carpet bombing in the political world, all these ads. Anyways, I finally made it out of New York State, and I heard down when I was in South Carolina on a little radio that night that Alphonse won by like a half a point, which he probably stole his machine. So he stayed in power. But then I started writing, and then wrote South Carolina's Declaration of Political War, and those people just savaged me. Drugged my wife, got her, she went crazy the next day. I don't know how they did it. Put something in her mouth in the middle of the night, made her just completely nutso. And then they came and took me, no judge, no nothing, took my children, foster home, went to the mental ward, and I later found out why they did it is because I laid out the concept for Contract with America in it. And they already had plans to use my previous writings about this particular strategy, Newt Gingrich and the Republicans. So they want to discredit me. And then when I got out of, I remember when I was rolling out of the, when they finally let me out after about 40 days in the mental institution, you know, they give you this big bag of money, try to drug you all out, tortured me 4 points, forced drug injections. I mean, they were brutal to me. And it wasn't until I wrote the FBI, and the Lord finally told me, you wrote your way in, you can write your way out. This is all you got to do. So I wrote the FBI a letter called Baboonery. Oh, boy. Yeah, it must have made them laugh so hard. I said, okay, he's been beaten enough. So they let me out. I can remember when I was coming out of that mental institution in that van with all those psychos, because I had cheeked all my medicine. I learned how not to, I mean, everywhere, like Haldol. I mean, heavy duty neuroleptics, man. I mean, they really, I can remember that first couple of days standing there, I could hardly hold on to my mind. I said, man, I'm in trouble. What's happening here? I mean, they got stuff that, wow, it can really crack you good. So,
so when you say these documents you wrote, I mean, were these white papers or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, in my world, all you got to do, if the stuff is good enough, it has a life of its own. You know, it's hard to explain. You have to know how the power structure works. But the people who rule this world are all on the same page. They all have a super secret website in which they can communicate to. I mean, when you hear that Prime Minister Putin picks up the phone, or he's president now, I think, yeah, I remember that. When Putin picks up the phone and calls Obama on the red phone, that's all theater.
Oh, we're out of break. You can stay on and hang on, HiJacker, if you want, and we'll be back after this break. HiJacker, are you still on, HiJacker?
Yeah, and I don't mean to hijack your whole show. I don't mean to do this. I just, you know, to make a long story short, basically after that first time in the mental institution and having my children taken, as soon as I rolled out the gates, you have this bag of medicine and you're getting ready to go home. I threw that stuff right out the window once we passed the gate, and I says, now you got a war. Now you got a real war. And because they used the mental weapon, like a lot of times in South Carolina, they would control you. They just stick cocaine in your car and ship you off to prison for 30 years. But they messed up with me. They hit me with the mental weapon. Well, once I realized, wait a minute, I'm mental. I am free. And then I became like 10 times more powerful because then I could say anything. And then the concept really flowed, and that's what started the war. And that's what I've been doing since. And I pretty much have slowed down in the last really 6-8 months. And the only reason I got involved with this radio station is I know how, you know, these type of alternative talk radios, they're watched by the FBI and the Secret Service. And they always have been. They just announced it, I think, a couple months ago. So when you put certain things out there, if you understand that ideas and strategies and concepts, that's the currency in the realm of politics. They take that stuff. That's really important to them. Things like hope, keeping you in fear, these spiritual type things are really, that's the currency. They need that stuff. So I was winding down, and really it was the last phone call to the station, to Nighthawk, a week or so ago, because I figured, you know, I know the timeline. I know there's not much more I can do. I have another place where I can post stuff online where I can get immediate injection. But I figured I can use this, and I saw the waters getting so choppy that I thought, well, maybe I need to go every day and really be fluid, and because I'm a slow typer. Maybe I need a weapon platform because things are going to get choppy. Maybe I need to be able to jump in every day and inject stuff because it is getting wild. I mean, you know, a president born from Kenya, federal agents talking about somebody inside the government wanting to do crazy stuff. I mean, you know, maybe I ought to jump in this thing. But all I'm doing is buying time. I think the end is going to come, and when it comes, it's going to happen like all at once. And so all I'm trying to do now is buy time, and that's why I'm on the radio. And if Nighthawk had said, nah, no thanks, because I don't want to do radio. I don't want to do what I'm doing, believe it or not. But I have this this contract with God. And if I know I should be doing something, in other words, I'm living for right at the end when I die, and when I see God, if he doesn't bust out laughing and is not happy with me, that's going to be hell to me. I'll have a psychotic break. I better have made him happy. That's all I'm thinking about. So that's how I live my life. So that kind of governs what I do. And that's why I do this program at 4:00. But you can ask me, I can verify any of this. You can ask me any questions, and I can go back through my memory because I got a kind of a photographic memory, and I can kind of tell you, pretty much. Jesse Helms, by the way, was the senator from New York who used that AIDS guy that was only 70 pounds. He was Jesse Helms' deep thinker. All these particular politicians, they try to find somebody who's good at politics and strategies to give them a narrative, so to speak, for their campaign. But go ahead.
No, I was going to ask if you heard about. There's a couple of pastors out there who are saying that Jesus Christ is going to return May 27th, 5 days from now.
Yeah, well, I'm expecting him to show up sometime, but I'm thinking it's going to be like right at the end. It really does look like they're going to go bioweapons.
Now, at the end, what are you saying? The end of this year, or
I don't know. All I do is work. My life's essence is to buy another day, to try to push things off. All I know is I can see it coming. I don't know when, but I know time's running out. I know the one worlders are getting jammed up. This internet is spun out of control on them. They're thinking of how to shut it down. Too many people are waking up. I don't know how much longer they can stop from doing the kind of plans that they're going to do. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be bioweapon because the Muslims have overwhelmed Europe, and they can't stop those people. So it kind of looks like that's what they're going to do to us, like the plagues in the Bible, Revelation. I'm not sure.
Do you think it's the bioweapons that only target certain races or genetics?
They got high technology out there. I mean, Ahmad knows what I believe. He always tries to trick me into getting me to talk about stuff like that, but I don't really like to go that far. Other people can, but I don't. But no, I'm sure they got bioweapons that race specific, sure.
Well, I know it's pretty much out there that they have bioweapons that would only target Asian people, and this seems to be what Benjamin Fulford is saying the White Dragon Society is pissed off about, and that they want to stop. Who knows?
Yeah, but I don't believe Dragon Company. I'm sorry.
Oh, neither do I.
Right, I know too much in how the world works, and it's just not. You're not going to have. It's almost nonsensical. It's almost that nonsensical, really. But they also could be an op to give people hope, because in the business that I traffic in, you try to give people hope. Just like Ron Paul, the only reason he's still there is he gives a whole bunch of guys hope that if we can get Ron Paul in, or maybe his son, things will straighten out. And so the Ron Paul, I'm almost expecting they're going to have to go third party with that guy. Because, really, there's a lot of patriots who realize if it's going to be down to Mitt Romney and Obama, then there's no hope. We're just going to march into this dark night. And there's a lot of guns out there. There's a lot of, and I still got a couple weapons in me, like the old man doctrine. How do you like this concept? When it all comes down to it, I tell the old men out there, look, we lived our lives. If it all comes down to it, protecting our nation and our families, we're expendable. The old man doctrine. I can flesh that out more, but I don't want to scare them too bad. But there's a lot of old men hitting the baby boomers. There's between 55 and 75. We don't care anymore. I know in 2 minutes I could go see Jesus if I wanted to. In less than 2 minutes, and I'd be in the presence of God. Well, when you don't have fear of death, when you think like that, that's a dangerous person. People who don't fear death are dangerous.
What do you think of Sean Morton? Since I know you're a fan of his too, he predicted that the Republican National Convention it would break down and be chaos, and then Jeb Bush would arise to save the day.
You know, Sean's pretty good. He's a good thinker. I watched him and I picked different thinkers apart, and in fact I have a whole list of people that are really, really good thinkers. I only wish they were on the battlefield. You know, because for 25 years I've been out there and, you know, nobody does the kind of stuff that I do, and I just wonder why all alone, you know. But, no, Sean, he might have a point. I'm thinking that the Bushes may come up with dirt on Romney, and that Romney never even makes it to convention. I heard that he's got, like in all his financial transactions, that there's some skeletons. And I think they think that he's too independent. And, you know, even though he's got all the right contacts or whatever, they're worried about his head. You know, and he does have that where he may be owned, but, you know, you're not going to like Clinton. Clinton had style. Yeah, he was a puppet, but, you know, Clinton still did it his way. You know what I mean? Obama's not like that. Obama's pretty much does what they tell him to do, and then he does it like halfway, but he'll still pretty much like a function. Romney, I think they're worried about his head, and Jeb, he's formidable. I worry about Jeb. I do. I worry about him. I shouldn't say this on the air, but I know the guy. When I was in Florida, when I was hijacking Bush's campaign in 2000, it was great. All I had to do is show up at the governor's mansion. He had a little camera out there, drop the stuff in his mailbox, drive on. Police didn't touch me, no knocking me in mental institutions and taking children. I mean, he was very civilized. You know, even had a number I could just call in. He had tapes. All I had to do is just call the mansion, and the sled guy, how you doing? Tell him, okay, hang on. Boom. They put the tape. I could call plays right in, give them a little 2, 3, 4 minute tape of, you know, how the campaign was going and something they're missing or what they ought to do this way or what they ought to change or an opening in the line. When you really get into political warfare, you're able to look and you can see the battle lines. You can see how the lines flow, where there's weaknesses and where there's strong points, weak points. Sort of, it's hard to explain to you, but, Senate 2 is the art of war. Well, if you in politics, you're able to convert that to political thinking, and then you can see stuff, and you can see mistakes, and then you can know where to jump to make the maximum. That's what I was really good at, was big picture, overall strategy, seeing lines. Now, somebody who was really good, Newt Gingrich, he was a tactician. He was close in. I'm pretty good at close in fighting. But it's overall, but the logistics and the tacticians, that's what campaigns are full of. And those are guys that come right down to, you know, where can we get the amount of votes on this precinct or this issue? You know, what are this demographics? That's the tactician and the logistics guy. And they're good at what they do. But you need somebody who can see the overall blend of the picture, to do it. And so Jeb was great. I mean, you know, he's in there. He's smart. He's a man's man. He's got the pro-life. He's got the conservatives. I already know his campaign strategy. I mean, I already know the simple thing he's got to do. I'm not my brother. And then once he says that enough, and people get to know him, they're going to love this guy. That's why I'm so worried about him. I'm really worried about they're going to pick off Romney, and Jeb's going to jump in there, and then I guess away we go. Another. Well, it ain't going to be no 4 years. But I'm just hoping to get to the election. I'm so damn nervous right now that I'm on the air saying all this stuff because I'm worried about not even making it to the election. That's because I told you I can see the lines, and I can't see where we're going to buy very much more time. And hopefully this strategy I'm going to give Obama tomorrow should be a good enough true-false reality to keep everybody calm down. And the one worlder say, yeah, that's a good strategy. That's a good plan. Let's do that. That should deceive a good enough amount of people. so that we can at least have an election. So that's all I'm playing for now. I mean, like,
is this the political bomb you mentioned to get Obama reelected?
Oh yeah, I originally built the thing for Bill Gates because I was worried about Jeb pulling this, and then his dad endorsed him, and then Jeb endorsed him. Anyways, I decided, well, because Gates doesn't live too far from me, I can go run over there. Gates knows who I am. Anybody up on, like I say, political mountain, they know who I am. I've dropped stuff off over his mansion, his castle, his fortress. Man, he's got some meaty, beefy guys out there. He's got like a small army.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Oh yeah, I pulled up to him first with that drag-butted car, and tried to give a package. And the guy says, "This is unexpected." You know, they look like they're all out of the CIA or something. And so as I drove away, the guy knew that I was going to drop it. So, you know, I opened it up to, no, there's no powder, nothing. And so I put all these documents in it. And as I drove away, I opened the door, and here it is. This guy's standing at this fortified gates. I mean, this curtain. And he's got this, I know it was a damn bazooka or something, but on top is this camera. So at first I thought, is he just filming me with a camera? And then I got to looking at it, I said, man, that's a damn bazooka. He could blow that whole car away. So anyways, I smiled, I held out the envelope, dropped it right there in the driveway, and then drove away. And then as I got up to the top, all these cop cars were right there, and they literally gave me an escort all the way out on the interstate and followed me all the way to my house within a block or so. I'm sure they were waiting to get the phone call. And then Gates, he's a beautiful blasting cap. Sometimes when you want to inject a concept or something, you find one of these guys. Anyways, Billy Jack, I use his name, bam, I can get my stuff through stuff. Go sky high, boom. But he did it. He injected it. No, anyways, I built this political strategy I'm going to give tomorrow, actually for Gates, but I had to tweak it because Gates is a certain type of person. And what I was going to do is if Jeb jumped in, then I was going to dig up the strategy. Well, I already have now. But anyways, I was going to dig it up and go give it to Gates. And then Gates, I was figuring that he would, I don't know, he might have just cashed out. He's done that before. He'll take stuff and cash it out. Government contracts, this and that. One thing I did for him, I mean, next couple of days, he got this $450 million defense contract. I forgot what it was. In fact, so much stuff I forgot. I ought to go through my files and take a look at all this stuff. But anyways, I'm going to give it to Obama. I got to tweak it, but I think it'll still work. It'll be good enough for Obama, and it should be good enough the way I got it set up because he's a salesman. See, Obama's whole deal is if you can keep control of things and you can keep the people calm down, and you know this Kenya thing doesn't go too far, and they already got the Rush Limbaughs and the Medveds, even his enemies are protecting him. They know how important it is. So on the mainstream media, they should hold it. That's why I would tell Alex Jones, you know, Alex, calm down. You know, let's not expose this guy because these people could get crazy. And keep dancing with them. So it might work. It might work. And if they can keep control of everything, and this is a good enough strategy, then Obama could deceive the people long enough to go through the election. And then I don't know what happens after that. Looks like all kinds of stuff is about to happen after this election if we can hold it that far. But I'm not even worried about that. Right now, I'm just giving the ground up. I'm just get to the election.
Now, someone's bringing up something in the chat room. I mean, what are your back channels? How would you get all this info to Obama? I mean, you apparently know the right people.
Oh no! When you're somebody like me, you're watched. I have a place I can go on the internet, and I can just put my stuff in there, and I don't have to do anymore.
Oh, okay.
Now, something else. You know, everything's just like war. It's sort of like kung fu, or I'll tell you somebody who's good at this type of thinking and strategy. It's Cliff High, Gentento. He can use the force and weight. So not all stuff that I release is in a certain way. Sometimes you want to create something special, a secret, only to give to one person. And then you can watch it as it goes through their spheres of influence before it gets the super injection. You know, sometimes you want to give stuff just so that person can manipulate it and they can get a little bit of power. Because you can help that person out. You see what I mean?
Yes.
You know, like that. Like even my local sheriff. Sometimes I'll just build a weapon and just give it to him. And that gives him power. And see, all of a sudden, he's directly in the loop. And he has access. I'll tell you one of the big things I gave him. So Obama was just president. I was using him to funnel stuff directly into Obama instead of going directly on the net so that the other side wouldn't know and that Obama got it. And he was great. I'd give the sheriff stuff. I'd just drive right down to, he made it easy. He said, just stop at the substation and just put it on a cruiser's windshield or whatever, or hand it to one of the cops. So it was easy. He's just going to the bottom of the hill. I mean, he really made it easy. And I just gave them the envelope. They took it. And that's it. They all know me. I mean, all the police. I mean, they knew where I'm at, who I am, everything. But anyways, I wanted to spend Obama's capital. I was kind of thinking, you know what? So, and I knew they really wanted the health care. So, you know, I really tempted them, gave them a lot of good ideas. And I says, 50, the old people, it's the baby boomers, the pig and the python. I'm sure you're a journalist, Michael, so you know what that means, right? The pig and the python?
Yes.
Right. That means people that are 55 to like 75 years old, they were called the baby boomers right after World War II. Man, this nation went like rabbits. I mean, I come from a family of 10. Only 7 survived. But when I was growing up, next door, they had 5. You know, across the street, they had 6 kids. So there's so many of us that are about to die. And we're about to come out the back end of a snake, the python. So it's a huge demographic group, but it's where it's all the money. And so I tempted them. I said, spend your political capital on the health care. That's all the money. Death panels, everybody dying, all the land, everything. So we know what happened. Obama went for the health care, and look what happened. Can he do much of any more except sign presidential directives? Nope. All his capital spent. So sometimes you can trick people like that too. Now he's just making mistakes. So, and now I'm scared for him. Actually, he's making so many mistakes that I'm really worried about him. So, anyways, that's my deal. I do it at 4:00 every day. Tomorrow, I'm going to give Obama this thermonuclear political strategy. It's a big one, and it should alter reality. You know, I've done it over and over and over so many times that it's not even a matter of faith. I mean, I think that's my gift. I believe it. And it's not even belief, it's I know it. And, I mean, it's like when Jesus says the faith of a mustard seed. It's like that. It's not that I have to believe it. It's going to happen. It's strange. But that's my gift. I can change the stuff. So,
and that's HiJacker's show, weekdays, 4 to 5 Eastern time, called Changing Reality, here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. The break's going to come soon. So thanks for calling in, HiJacker.
Yeah, Michael, thank you. And I'm sorry, Matt. I didn't want to mean just to suck all the oxygen out of it. You got me going. And once you get going,
I'm just producing. I'm supposed to be quiet.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks, Michael. I appreciate it.
Thanks, HiJacker. Okay, well, that's HiJacker's story. The reason why I asked him to call in is because his doing his show, I've only been here for 2 months on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, and he was jumping into things on his show without some sort of a context of his story, you know, and that's what I was looking for, is just some more background info so I could understand what he's talking about more. Is it true? Is he insane or what? I don't know. But his show is very, very interesting and thought-provoking. And tomorrow I'll certainly look forward to hearing what this political bomb he's going to give Obama will be all about. What do you think, Ahmed?
Oh, I got no clue about Hi-Jacker. I like some of his stuff, but I don't always agree with what he says. But he makes people think, man.
Yeah?
And that's what matters to me.
Well, his controversial nature certainly makes his show.
Oh, yeah. I only heard